is going on, guys? Glitchmaster Gaming here, and welcome back to another video. And today, this is going to be a bit of a different video, because today, excuse me, what we're doing is we're actually going to be doing a tutorial on how I personally use OBS. Now, I will admit that I'm not really the most skilled OBS person, but one of my good friends, HomeSlice101, he, I guess he left a comment, and it was in my inbox like 20 minutes ago or something, and I decided, he asked if I could do a tutorial for OBS, and I was like, sure. Now, personally, if you guys cannot already tell, I don't use the regular OBS, I actually use OBS Studio. They're not really much different, so a lot of the stuff that you're gonna see in this video will also apply if you have, like, the original OBS, but personally, I use OBS Studio as well. OBS is also what I use for streaming, so yeah. Now, we're gonna basically just go over the settings a little bit, and personally what I did. Now, personally, mine are not the best, so but if you want videos that kind of look like mine that I do with OBS, then, I guess just take these settings. So basically, we're gonna go to video here, and the video output is currently active, so I can't really edit it considering I'm actually recording with OBS. But basically, I don't have a very big monitor. I'm trying to get a bigger one soon, but, what I have it set to is, the base canvas resolution is set to 1024 by 760, which is more, I think the bigger, and the intention that I actually had for that was 1280 by 720. If you do this, I believe you'll maybe get around 720 or 1080p videos, because if you guys do not know, a lot of my videos are 1080p. Some end up being 720, and very few are less than 720. But yeah, that's basically the thing. So yeah, and the common FPS value, I just set to 60. I don't really know if this is true or not, but I've heard that videos, unless said otherwise by YouTube's quality thing, YouTube, if you have a 60 FPS video and it's not like a 720 60 frames per second video as it lists in the quality, then it will scale it down to 30 frames. I'm not entirely too sure if that's true. I think mine might actually do that, like it's 1080, but it goes 30 frames, which is fine. But yeah, that's basically the settings I use there. Also use disable air. I don't have disable aereo checked, so I just don't really mess with it if it's already unchecked for you guys. Okay, the output mode. Right here, this is probably some of the most important stuff. Output mode, I have, I guess, advanced. I usually set it to that. Encoder, I use X264. If you should have that. Then the rescale output, which was on the other thing as well, which is also 1024 by 768. You'll just keep that same. Rate control is CBR. Now the bit rate. This is really important. Now, this will vary depending on how good of a computer you have, and this will also depend on the quality of your video as well as the resolution scale. Basically, you can, I think the maximum that you could set it up to was something like 7,000 or something, and that will give you like a really high quality video. If you set it to around 2,500 like mine is right now, the default file for me was in 720p. But then after rendering it, it was in 1080, so personally I use 2500, however, it may vary for you guys, and you can just kind of experiment with that, or whatever you want to do. the keyframe interval. Now this, you want to keep it 2 seconds. Nothing else. You always need to keep it at 2 seconds. CPU usage preset. Now this is also important, but it's not as important as like the bitrate. This will, I guess, from what I know, it depends on. It's like an opposite thing. It tries to manage your CPU usage depending on what you pick here. So the thing is that it's kind of like an opposite thing where I don't exactly know how this works, but for me it's very fast. Again, try to experiment with that, and you'll see the difference in the frame rate and stuff. But yeah. Okay, recording tab. Now the only really important thing here is the recording format, and I guess the recording path of wherever you want to save your videos. Recording format. Now this is probably the most important part on this page. MP4. MP4 was always the best thing that I found. I always thought it was really helpful. But yeah, audio. Now I've never actually messed with the audio at all. I've just kept everything at default settings, and it seems to have worked fine for me. Oh yeah, and I guess while we're at general, this isn't really anything due to like how your video runs or anything, but you can change the language of your OBS or OBS Studio, whichever one you're using, and then the theme, you can make it dark or default, which are these. I personally keep it at dark because I think it looks better. But yeah. So, hotkeys. Now this isn't really. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's just the hotkeys for your stuff. However, there is something that I want to mind you guys of. It's basically, be very careful of what you set your hotkeys as. The hotkeys, I mean, you don't really have to be too careful of them, but if you do regular videos and stream like me, so if you do both of those, it can become a problem or there can be a problem, because sometimes, you guys may have you've probably seen this on my channel. When I started streaming, I think a couple weeks after I started streaming randomly on accident. Like, I started streaming 3 sister location streams on accident. And that's another thing you have to be careful of. If you have the stream key set, be careful that you don't hit start streaming instead of start recording. Also, make sure you don't set your stop recording and start streaming button. I had that issue before, and that's what was causing me to randomly just stream. Yeah. So, advanced, I don't really mess with anything advanced, so, I advise you guys not to mess with that too much. Stream. Now, this, will only really apply to, I guess, whatever you do. Now, the streaming type, just do streaming services. Now the service, this is just whatever you want to stream on. I personally stream on YouTube. I don't know if I will maybe switch over to Twitch eventually, or like Hitbox. Probably not Hitbox, but they have a crap ton of options here. They got Hitbox, Beam, Daily Motion, live coding, watch people code, M Sports, Switchboard, Good Games, Gameplank, Vaughn, StreamUp, ConnectCast, all those. Personally, a lot of these I don't know. I mean, I think the only ones I really know in here are Stree.am, YouTube, and YouTube, Twitch, Daily Motion, and Hitbox. But yeah, so yeah, that's basically that's just the settings stuff for what I personally use. Now, as far as the actual OBS interface, now, maybe this isn't really as important, but I will, I guess, bring it up anyways. So this is the basic interface that I have. I'm not the most professional with it. But if we look here, you can edit a couple things now. The things I'm using right now, game capture. Now, the good thing about OBS Studio with game captures, and this is one of the biggest reasons why I personally use OBS Studio over the regular OBS, is because I don't know, and maybe the original OBS software actually had this and I just didn't know. It basically has a thing where it'll, in the properties, if we look, it'll give you the mode option to capture any full screen application. So, this makes it so that, there's some games that don't work and they're just kind of like a freezed frame, or they're like a white screen. But that doesn't happen nearly as often anymore. The original OBS seemed to have always done that for me. Like, I could never actually get it to work unless if it was a window capture. It seems like the games in OBS Studio that don't allow that to work are games that are by default windowed, like Undertale. And if you full screen them, they'll just go to a white screen. So that's because they weren't originally, like, their original intention was to be a windowed game. You know, they're not actually, obviously it is full screen, but that's not what the original intention was. So it's just gonna be like, okay, well, he's not in windowed mode anymore, so we're not gonna count this. So that's personally me just doing full screen games and stuff. Display capture. Now, the display capture is basically everything on the screen you see right now, except for my face cam. That's basically just everything you can see here. Window capture. Window capture, I don't use it that often. Right now, I currently have my window capture set for the RTC corruptions, which I'm on Thanksgiving break right now, which does mean that I might actually be doing streaming a bit sometime. I don't know. But yeah, the window capture is basically what I was using for back when I did my Undertale streams. I had the Undertale window. Obviously, I was playing Undertale in windowed mode at the time, which was easy because it made me able to read the chat. But yeah. But I'm also currently using it for the BizHawk emulator for doing the RTC corruptions, which is always good. Video capture. Now this is my face cam. So, yeah. So you can add as many things as you want here. Like if I wanted to frickin', hold on, let's add an image, guys. You want to add an image? I think we should add an image. You know, I think it would look good. You guys remember this? You guys remember this? You guys remember this? Yeah. Ooh. Oh yeah, you can actually move stuff around. Just pointing that out. You probably already knew that, but yeah. But anyways, guys, that was my basic tutorial on how I personally use OBS. Guys, some of the settings will obviously vary for you, such as the bitrate or the thing where you can choose, I guess, how the FPS goes. So yeah, yeah, the CPU usage, that, you know, the CPU usage and the bitrate, those you can just kind of, you know, test out. The bitrate is very important, though. The bitrate is probably the most important thing on the settings. Yeah. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video, and I will see you recruits in the next video.